Hey guys, this is Coach Chris, and welcome to another episode of Jiu-Jitsu Therapy with Chris Mize. I am, again, Coach Chris Mize, running the board. Today is Coach Chris Boland. Thank you, Coach, for being here and doing all that you do. We hope that everyone is faring well in this quarantine time. I know a lot of folks have been in for a while, and some of you haven't been able to work. Some of you are essential employees at places, nurses and firefighters and different things like that, doctors, and we appreciate you guys going out and doing what you do. We know that you put your families at risk every time you step out, and I think that a lot of people don't realize that part. When you go out there, when you come back home after taking care of people that have been exposed and stuff, you put your families at risk, and I think people don't realize that. But we appreciate all y'all, and we appreciate you tuning in to the podcast today. We wanted to really kind of just talk about some of the things that Coach and I, what we've been thinking about, some things we've been doing ourselves, because we were, before we went on the air, we were discussing how, well, in my brain I was discussing anyway, how the news is so negative. I mean, Jesus. I mean, it's like everything is just like, oh, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And I mean, you can't turn a blind eye to it. You need to know what's going on. But it's almost like, well, once you kind of get an update, you don't need to look at it all day long, But we need to try to stay positive and work on overcoming stuff. Your energy is going to go in one direction or the other. Either you're trying to work through the problem, which when you can actually say working through the parts of it that you can control, or you're letting yourself get wore down and be in a negative space, and you just get depressed, and then you're going to have to pull yourself out of this hump, and it affects everybody else around you. So we just wanted to talk about a few things today that we think will help everybody, and maybe a mindset to try to help people get through some of this funk that everybody's kind of going through. I know everybody's wanting to jiu-jitsu up and roll and do stuff, and you can't really, even if you got a willing family member that's sequestered up with you, sometimes it's hard to do that, depending on your situation, your apartment, different things like that. So but we wanted to kind of give you some insight on some things that I've been thinking about and some stuff that I'm doing. I've mentioned him on the podcast before, Robert Greene. He's written several books that are really good, Mastery being one of them. The Laws of Human Nature, which I think is probably one of the best books ever written, which came out last year. Again, it's Greene, Greene, Robert Greene. He has a philosophy on things, and he says that either you've got a alive time or you've got dead time. So a live time is any time that you're being proactive to try to better your situation. So that's not just, you could still be better in your situation if you're chilling out on the couch for a little while, or even playing video games with your son who you haven't got to see in 3 months. There's advantages, yeah, as long as you're, like I said, working kind of at the top of the mountain as opposed to working down the mountain. But, a lifetime is being productive, and productive means a lot of different things. You could be working on your business when it's going to kick back up here in a month or so. You could be learning a new skill for that business, or be working on a hobby. It's a great time to work on your stuff. I'm interested to hear what I know some of the things Coach Chris has been working on, but I want to get a little more insight into that. I myself, I've been working on Spanish for about a week and a half. So I'm doing it through an app, and I'm moving along pretty good. I would say that I'm better off now than I have been before when I've tried to learn Spanish. And I got a little gutsy today on Facebook. So Justo Diego, his daughter, Jessie, posted on Facebook. She did some technique stuff today, and she did it all in English. And Jessie, she's not known for that. She's in Spain. She's never been, I've never met her personally. But I told her in Spanish, I wrote this out. I put that her English was, excellent, and that I was trying to learn Spanish so that I could talk to Bogdan and Justo. And she didn't respond, so I hope it says that. Hopefully it doesn't come across nasty or anything. Hopefully Justo will not punch me in the face when I see him later on this year. But so I'm working on my Spanish. Another thing, Coach, that I'm trying to going to start implementing. And I haven't done it, but it's just because it hadn't really clicked to me. I don't know why. I need to be doing yoga every day.
Definitely. I was actually thinking about that as far as jiu-jitsu goes is I think we, especially me, need to make sure that you stretch. Jiu-jitsu is we like to laugh and say forced yoga in a lot of ways, and we don't realize how much we are getting stretches in, and it's almost a byproduct, and I think that it's like anything else. If we get stove up on the couch or in our sedimentary lives and not doing things, when we get back, we're going to be like, ugh. So I think yoga is a very good thing in order to period to be supplemental to your jiu-jitsu anyway. And I was actually going to ask you about that, as far as something similar to that is there something, you have some ideas of things that you're going to do while we're under quarantine for your thing, maybe, just spitballing, maybe when you do a Zoom class with everybody, maybe the Zoom class is like almost like they do the bicycle classes, where everybody's doing. So we're gonna do a stretch class together.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, definitely. I think the opportunity is there to do some things that we haven't done because, one, we have the time. So that is a very good idea, and I think let's kind of take this time, just like me trying to learn Spanish. And I just want to be functional. I don't want to be fluent. I just want to be functional so I can understand people. And then I'm hoping it will help me bridge into Portuguese. Spanish is an easier of the two languages. So they have a lot of words that are very similar. So there's a method to my madness on it, But when you talk about yoga, you can do a little bit every day, and you can really try to maybe build some good habits. This is a time for us to build some habits, that will hopefully carry on and do stuff. You need to get in the habit of doing it. Get your family members to do it with you, and stuff like that. Let's build and try to. For me, I'm trying to do some kind of reconstructive stuff, or some stuff to help me work through some of my issues that I have physically from just years of just banging my body up. I did a lot of damage to my body the first 20 years of martial arts. So I'm trying to kind of fix some of those problems, or kind of correct them as much as I can. And that's sore too. That doesn't feel good, it turns out. I've been trying to stretch more. I haven't been doing specifically yoga, but I think I'm going to start trying to do that a little bit more tomorrow. Why not today, Coach? Well, I'm so realistically, my day is pretty full so far, but I got stuff I need to get done. But yeah, I think and definitely we could do that. And we're starting some class stuff, some interactive class later this week for our academies that we have, and so hopefully that'll help everybody. I tell you, no matter what you're doing, you just need to be doing something. And making the best of it. Like I said, we can't control the situation as a whole, but we can control how we react to all these parts, and that's what we're going to think about when it's all over.
What about thinking about how you react is something that was popped in my mind. I hope it's good for this episode. I'm gonna throw it out there anyway.
Do it.
Is when you talk about your curriculum, your school culture, your different things of that nature, with having this many weeks off, and when you come back, is this a good time for a school owner, head instructor, whatever, to think about hitting that reset button? Because sometimes, and what's been on my mind is we have people that they come and go, and I shouldn't say come and go, depending on how often they come to class, dictates by their job or life things that are going on. So people miss things and this and that. And a good curriculum, as you've set up, is having things go, we're going to do these techniques this week, these techniques, blah, blah, blah. And that way, when after a certain amount of time, you should have seen everything, and we work on stuff for your ranking and for you to make sure that you're learning what you need to learn. Is this, in your opinion, when you go back in after everybody opens back up, is it a good time to set the reset button so that your people with not much experience versus even the ones that have a lot of experience. Says, okay, we're going to start here and we're going to rebuild everybody's fundamentals or whatever's been on my mind to make sure everybody has their curriculum the way it needs to be. So it's almost starting fresh. Is that something that's crossed your mind or any other owner's mind that you know of?
Well, I'm no stranger to trying to innovate on anything. We always mix stuff up anyway, and we always make suggestions on what we should do. I've got some ideas, some things that I want to try to implement a little bit more when we come back. Just because I've had time to really sit down and think about it, and some research that I've done on different things. You'll be glad to know part of that has to do with the warm up.
Hey.
So, and
5 minutes or less.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, I think you'll see that it's going to check all the boxes that you want checked, and not and that time constraint is part of that.
That's awesome.
So I've been thinking about that and having a very functional warm up.
Isn't it funny how people have different mindsets on so much stuff? There's so many people that they'll drag a warm up out forever.
Yeah.
And
well, it's not CrossFit.
Yeah.
And I'm not bad mouthing CrossFit because we all know you can get results from CrossFit.
Sure.
But if you want to just get in shape, your time may be better spent doing some bicep curls or something. Rather than going in and trying to get good at jiu-jitsu.
Well, I just find it funny is everybody gives me a hard time because I hold such a hard time constraint on my warm-ups.
Yeah.
And I'm either speeding people up to the point where, do this, do that. We're not trying to stretch. And I think a lot of people mess up when they think that they try to do such deep stretches in the beginning. You're really not supposed to do a lot of deep stretches when you're cold anyway. You're kind of, to me, doing practical drills, your armbar drills, your shrimp drill, things like that. To me, that warms you up and maximizes your time for your jiu-jitsu. You're doing jiu-jitsu to warm yourself up. You're not doing walking handstands for 30 yards.
Right. Well, I think, like I said, that's one of the things that I've been thinking about doing and doing across the board. I think one thing we've always allowed every instructor to kind of cater their thing, but we'll just make some suggestions. I think it'll be something you've also got to give it a little time to see if it kind of resonates well with everybody. The goal is you want to have something that's one, effective, two, pretty reasonably fun, and people can really kind of see the benefit of it.
Sure.
You can do push-ups and you can say, oh wow, I can now do 20 as opposed to 5.
50.
Right.
Mandatory.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. But you can tell, it's like doing pull-ups. You start off doing 1 and then, then you can do 3 and then whatever. But you can get better at that. But how functional is that for what we're doing?
Sure.
That's the thing. So yes, I've been thinking a lot of that stuff and been thinking about some of just basically everything and trying to figure out what's the thing. And again, how we do things differently at our school, like I said, is just, I've been in touch with several people that we're going to do some free seminars for our people.
Wow.
When we come back, just as a thank you for the people that are still with us. And I talked to Earl. Earl's coming down. Big Earl, or excuse me, Little Earl.
Little Earl.
He's coming down to do it, and we're doing.
Tennessee or Kentucky? I can't remember.
He's in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
he's
in Tennessee.
the guy that came down for the Craig Jones, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He and I were working leg locks together.
He's a Drysdale black belt.
Okay.
So he's legit. It's as legit as you can get. Plus, he is a monster of a dude.
He is a monster.
But he's like a gentle giant, man. He's amazing to roll with. And I met him through Coach Eric, and but he's an amazing dude. He's gonna come down. We're gonna switch. We're gonna swap back and forth a little bit. And he's gonna do that. So we're kind of doing that, and we've got some cool things to do with their kids and stuff like that planned. And then just to make things better. And plus, I think the environment that we're in now, again, wasn't really planning about that, but we're gonna do some things that are gonna change the way that we do stuff from now on. I think everybody will. One, it'll be better prepared if anything even comes close to like this again. So we'll be like, we just plug it in, and now we're good for 2 weeks if we can't train for 2 weeks.
Sure.
But it's just like hardship causes growth,
Innovation.
innovation and growth. If you're not having to adapt or adjust to anything anytime, you're not growing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, adaptation is the thing. You've got to be able to adapt. You can't just expect to do the same thing every day and just get better.
Right.
You know, you can do that core of the same thing every day and then add different things to try to implement. But that's what you've got to do. I think that's a big thing. Talking about that, well, we'll talk about this later. I was just going to, something you said a while ago, when you were thinking about how we do things, and again, I could talk a whole thing. Anyway, we'll do that later. I was going to do that. We'll talk about that. You made me think of something, Coach.
There you go.
But
I like to inspire.
Yes, you were inspiring to me. This type of situation, and I heard one guy say this, it taxes our humanity. You know, when things are going okay, everything's fine, you know, but
you get to really see who people are under a stressful situation. Mm-hmm. And an interview I did with the guy you mentioned a while ago that you're still listening to on my other show, mm-hmm. you know, he made a point. You don't really know somebody until they don't have to put on the nice face anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of this stuff has not that people are being mean or nothing like that, but in their jiu-jitsu journey, this is going to really tell who people are that really want to be on the journey. And hopefully we don't lose a lot of people. And I hope that if nothing else, I had a strong talk with Amber the other day, and I was, you know, her response was, it's made her want to get, I mean, she is honestly looking to get back on the mat. Mm-hmm. She's, and I was kind of, you know, since she's just started back, you know, that was one of my fears was that, are we going to lose her? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And she's like, no. She goes, she is currently, you know, with all her work stuff and all that stuff, she is making sure that she's going to have her days set aside for it. And I hope that for all the schools. Oh, yeah. It'll be interesting to see, you know, when you come back and you start looking around for the first couple of weeks. And I think it'll be lean the first week or two on your lower belts, just because they're still going to be kind of nervous about touching and sweating and all that stuff. Your knuckleheads like me who don't know any, you know, I'm standing around going, what do I do? You know, I mean, I'm going to be in there first day.
Right. Well, I think it'll be interesting to see how things go and people come back. And like I said, hopefully our goal will be where things will even be better when people come back, because you learn, and when you have these resets like this, you're going to adapt. And hopefully everybody's taking this opportunity to, like I said, better themselves. And as far as instructors, you know, do some things to improve their situation. The culture of your school, we've talked about that so many times on the podcast. The culture of your school is what's going to keep your group together. Mm-hmm. And Coach knows this firsthand. Of course, he's moved way past it, but he's been around a lot of fighters in his martial arts life. And fighters traditionally very selfish type thing. They're focused on themselves. You know, you're just somebody. You're just a throw dummy, or you're just somebody is to beat up today so that I can be better. That's not how your jiu-jitsu school should be. And I mean, again, I'm not preaching at you. If that's how your jiu-jitsu school is, good for you. Great. When your students get tired, send them to me, and we'll treat them right, because that's not how we do our stuff. And I mean, you know, I know people say, no, I'm not like, you know, you have to go on that journey and you have to figure it out yourself. But you have to, you know, the community of what you have why do people stay together? You know, they stay together because, like I said, they enjoy being around each other. They see the benefits of it and everything else. So this was kind of, I've circled back around this. I've got to talk about this. Something you said a while ago made me think, and we were talking about in my brain how weird wired it is, but, you know, talking about stress situations, talking about training, talking about bottom side, getting stuck bottom side on somebody or somebody mounting you, and the duress. The stress of all that allows us to learn to, regulate our breathing, regulate our emotions, regulate our response to how we deal with things. At that level, the experience after a while that we take from that channels very well to outside the dojo.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody gets in your face, mother, I'm gonna, people get in your
I
face.
want that toilet paper.
Right. You can be chilled. Hey, dude, just relax. I mean, you don't get triggered as quickly.
Right.
And I heard Roy Dean. He refers to it as a dimmer switch.
Okay.
And jiu-jitsu, the bad times we experience on the mat. When I say bad times, it's just pressure. In jiu-jitsu, it's about pressure. It's about things like that. That helps us build, develop maybe our ego in a way to where, one, we don't just freak out every time something happens, or like I said, getting triggered. So you learn how to have a governor on your emotion, which allows you to regulate your breathing, which allows you to survive the situation. If you don't have that, that's why, when people first start jiu-jitsu and they haven't had the lectures of their best friends, hey man, you just need to relax and all that. What do people do? They come in, it's on or off, baby. Mm-hmm. Boom! It's like, it's a fight. Ow! It's like that. And as you do it longer, then it's like, touch hands, let's go. Let's start off slow. It may kick up, it may kick down. It just the ebb and flow of it. So when you think about the emotional response, us being able to, like I said, regulate that, that's what jiu-jitsu teaches you. It's not that there may not be a fight, but how do I keep my cool to manage this situation? Not that I may not just punch you in the face, okay? But I went through a couple of layers to get there, and I made those layers probably pretty quick at sometimes, but I've learned how to react.
You have a confidence level of your in response. Mm-hmm. You don't second guess it when it's all said and done.
Well, I think this is boy, we've gone down a rabbit hole. But anyway, I think it's good, guys. I mean, to me, and I saw a coach's eyes twinkle a little bit when I said it, so I know it's good. That's always my litmus test. People say, yeah, jiu-jitsu gives you confidence, man. Okay, that's a word. Mm-hmm. What is confidence? Oh, I feel good about myself. I feel like I can handle myself. Okay, what's that? That is, I've been in bad spots, and I learned that I didn't die. I've been in bad spots, and I'm like, ugh. But I was able to manage that, and I got out. Mm-hmm. Or I didn't die. I learned. Every time I did it, if I didn't get out, I learned how to deal with that situation better.
Which goes back to what's going on right now with this quarantine.
Exactly.
You're going to make it through. You're going to be back on your mats. You're going to be back in your job. You're going to be this is not the first pandemic we've ever gone through in life. Just the first one in quite some time.
And hell, even if you let your ego get activated, so what? Everybody's in it together. Everybody is affected by this. Mm-hmm. I listen to people who've been through multiple war times back in the older, when you talk about Vietnam, you talk about, guys that I've heard guys talk that were in World War II, old timers, Mm-hmm. And they'll say, well, we've never had anything like this. This mm-hmm. particular thing. Mm-hmm. They've had bad shit happen. Mm-hmm. But not this. This is new to, this is new to everybody. So, and they're not like paralyzed about it. It's just, well, we've never had this happen.
Yeah. It's just something new.
Right. It's like you own a business of anything. If you own a restaurant, you have a lot of shit that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Or a bar.
Yeah.
You own a bar, a lot of shit happens. And one day you're like, well, we've never had that happen.
That's right.
We've never had a donkey show.
That's right.
Well, now we can check that off the list. We've had. So this is one of those experiences we need to go into. Listen, don't be too serious about stuff. It's okay to laugh about stuff because that's how the human being deals with things.
And that's all I do. I probably rub people wrong, but yeah, I've been kind of jovial about it, ho-hum about it, but you don't want to. You relate to that back to jiu-jitsu is I mean, don't panic. There's a time to be nervous, time to be concerned, time to be cautious, but try not to panic.
Yeah, be guarded. Yeah. Be guarded, but don't panic.
Yeah.
Panic means you're throwing it out the window. Mm-hmm.
And once you panic on the mats, just like in life, that's when things start slipping away from you.
Right. I think from guys who've served in military and served here, as a civilian, military, police, military and fire and different things. And then, of course, you know, and then the healthcare people, they deal with stressful situations all the time, life or death situations. People who deal with that type of, thing, you start developing your ability to, handle stuff. Back when I was working as a nurse, if we ever had a day when like your patient crashed or you coded somebody, or it always happens in groups. So the person next to you, they may code their patient as well, one of their patients. All of a sudden, heck, you may have 3 codes in a unit in one day. When you come to work the next day, you are loaded for bear. It's like, man, I can handle anything. You can. It's like your mind. It's just that. And this is something I learned too from working in the ICU and the ER and stuff. I always found that I could do a better job when I was involved in a very like a code situation if it wasn't my patient, because what happens is you get so emotionally involved, it's hard to disconnect.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I say this all the time. It's always easier to help somebody else than it is to help yourself in any form of life.
Yes.
I can help you better with your finances than I can help myself with my finances.
Absolutely, man.
It's weird because you like you said, you have no emotional attachment to it, and it's almost like coaching. I can coach some better than I can work on my own stuff, because I'm there for them. I'm looking, outside looking in, and I can see them staying, not just armchair quarterbacking, but egos get involved. When you're doing your own thing, somebody can tell me 15 times, "Hey, you need to do this," and I'm like, "What? But don't I really need to do?" No, dummy, listen to what he's saying. So
yeah, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So that's a good coming back into school here in the next few weeks, hopefully soon. Maybe that's a good thing for everybody to think about, is maybe we should all come back in with that fresh white belt mind.
Oh yeah.
No matter what your rank is. I don't care if you're a 4-stripe black, or a 2-day white belt, just coming back in and because I know we're all guilty of it. I know I'm guilty of it. It's just coming back in with just a little bit open mind.
Well, that's absolutely the truth. I mean, I think as you tend to progress through it all too, you tend to look at that more when you get your black belt, and you realize, okay, you hear people say, "Oh, it just starts." Then it changes and it starts then. Your
Right.
idea on it, your thoughts change about what what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish. Which is a lot of it's about sharing and true refinement of what you're doing. But I think you said it a minute ago. You said, it's about giving advice to others and helping people solve their problems. It's one of the things that we need to really concentrate on is being kind to the people around us, whether it's family in your house with you or your apartment or your neighbors, and just be kind to each other. And that goes a long way. If you've got to occupy yourself, you might as well do it serving others, being grateful, because gratitude and depression they don't interact in the same breath. So being grateful, to me, and it may just be me, but I think it's probably across the board. When I do things for people, I'm not thinking, that way that dude will owe me.
Right.
I'm thinking, man, I just, I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good to,
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just glad to, hey, I'm just glad to be able to do it. That's the kind of thing we need to do. And that's something that I think we've lost too in our general society. That's something that jiu-jitsu reteaches you too, getting back to that, because we're on the mat, we're always giving and taking from each other.
And when you can see a student or a partner, I say student because they may be the same rank as you when I say partner, but when you see them compete or you see them do something and you're like, Oh yeah, we worked on that. Look at him. He's or her. They're wearing it out.
Yeah.
So it's just a good feeling.
Well, you always pay it forward. I mean, everybody, good begets good. I mean, that's the thing usually, and again, you always still need to be cautious sometimes, but still always just kind of have a good, be humble, be kind, try to help each other, try to be wise in your decisions. And like I said, take a breath. Next time you're fighting over a bunch of toilet paper on aisle 7, take a breath first. Anyway, I'm not going to share a story. This is one of the Mad Dog stories. Anyway, from the Piggly Wiggly. But anyway, no, just be kind to each other, and hopefully people are getting a better handle on that now. And that snow day chaos is hopefully over now.
Yeah.
So, but guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we've talked about some stuff that's at least interesting. And like I said, we appreciate y'all. And like I said, leave us comments, recommend us to a friend. Again, we appreciate y'all, and we're all going to get through this together. When you write your story after it's all said, how do you want it to be? It needs to be that you were squared up and a good person, and man, I made it through that. This is how we did it. Not like my world collapsed and I just gave up on everything because of it, right? But anyway, guys, until next time, this has been Jiu-Jitsu Therapy.